Hello strangers and friends, my name is Grace and this is Sometimes I Make Things, vlog number 16, the Christmas episode. This episode was originally gonna be me doing another sweater challenge where I try to make a sweater in a set period of time, but spoiler alert, I once again failed to finish in my allotted time. So today is Christmas morning. We've done our Christmas gifting. I didn't end up finishing the sweater as planned. It was a gift from my dad, but I've spent the past couple months working on this video and I figured I would still share it and kind of have it as my Vlogmas video for the year. So there's some cozy clips of things that I got up to over the month, as well as a bit of my design process of creating or recreating a sweater from scratch, really, and just how I went about doing that. So I hope that you will enjoy this video and enjoy the vibes, and I hope you've had a wonderful December and wishing you all the best in 2024. Hello strangers and friends, and welcome to a very special episode of Sometimes I Make Things, the holiday edition. As many knitters and makers know, handmade gifts are a quintessential part of the holiday season. You got the people that appreciate them, you got the people that appreciate them, and then the people that don't. And despite that, it's still just such a process and a journey of love to make handmade products for the people that we care about. And this year I have a very ambitious and very interesting project planned for someone I love very dearly. It's for my dad. His name is Matthew, and I'm gonna try knitting my dad a whole sweater. Bit of story time to preface it. Many years ago, when I was but a small bean with a broccoli stem on top of my head for hair, my dad had this wonderful sweater called the Kiwi sweater within our family. He got it at a thrift store, so he probably got it at a heck of a bargain, and you know it was real wool. And he just thought it was very fun and funky, and he loved it. But as is the way for real wool sweaters, it found itself in the washing machine, and then in the dryer, and it was never the same. I don't have any photos of what the Kiwi sweater looked like after its ordeal, but I think that it became a child-sized sweater, so it did get thrown out. Unfortunately, it's the way of the world. So every now and again in conversation, the Kiwi sweater has come up where my dad's like, oh, well, I used to have this really nice sweater until someone put it in the washing machine. And it came up, the sweater earlier this year in this story, and I started thinking like, oh, a Kiwi sweater. I could make my dad a Kiwi sweater. But I'd never seen a photo of it before. So I just kind of assumed, like they said it was purple and had a kiwi on it. So I was imagining like a nice purple chunky raglan with a kiwi, like the bird, not the fruit. Let me say that. With the kiwi bird just on the middle. And I was like, that sounds pretty simple. Like I could totally make that. It'd be fun and cute. And then, you know, I had that kind of percolating in the back of my mind. And then, sorry, I have to pause story for motorcyclists driving by on the dirt road. Anyway. So my mom approached me a few months later and said, hey Grace, I have this idea for a joint Christmas present we could do for your dad. How about I buy the yarn and you knit your dad the Kiwi sweater? And I was like, perfection, shopping for yarn on someone else's budget, and we both have the same idea for a sweater. Phenomenal. But then she walks up and she has found a photo of the Kiwi sweater. And it's the only known photo of the Kiwi sweater. So I'm very excited, and I see the Kiwi sweater, and then my heart drops a little bit because it's not just a simple purple raglan with a big kiwi bird on it. It's this. So yeah, I have never recreated a sweater that intricate before. I am a pattern girly. I like my patterns, but there is no pattern for the Kiwi sweater. I'm just gonna have to go for it. So yeah, that's what this video basically is. This is early September. So we got September, October, November to the end of December to make this sweater happen. And I'm hoping to chronicle the process of me figuring out how to knit this sweater. That is, you know, there's definitely some design elements that are a little beyond my skill set at this point in time. But I really want to make this for my dad. I think it'll be a really special gift, and I think it'll be memorable. So join me in this journey. I make no promises that I get this done in a timely manner, but I think it'll be really cool if I pull it off. So cast your votes below. The yarn that Mom and I opted up going for is Briggs and Little. It is their Heritage base. They have a few different kinds, but Heritage is this lovely, crunchy, all natural wool. It is Canadian wool, and it is spun in, I believe, New Brunswick at Canada's oldest woolen mill that is a family-owned company. So it's a very, like, it's a product you can feel good about using, knowing where it's sourced from, and then also that it's Canadian businesses that have been supported in the process. It also is just a solid wool for wool sweaters. Like, I don't know if you could do better for a classic wool sweater than Briggs & Little. So the base of the sweater is that lovely dark chocolate color, so this is the color we're going for that. This is called Brown. We love a simple name. After the brown, there is that leaf-like pattern, and we went for this yellow tone for that. So this one is called Gold. Again, simplicity is key. After the yellow, we also have this lovely burgundy color along the base. I think this is such a gorgeous wine red. This is called Dark Maroon. Like, that's stunning. So those are kind of our base colors. And then we move into that lovely blue section. So it looks like in Dad's sweater, it's more of a light blue, but I will show a photo of all these colors laid out together so you can appreciate the full spread. But this darker blue looked nicer than the lighter blue they had as an option. It did make the colors come out more. So slight variation. We're gonna have this lovely dark blue. So this is teal blue. And then for the kiwi itself, if you look closely at the sweater, it doesn't actually look like the kiwi is black. So we went with this deep purple for the kiwi. Again, in art, from my understanding, you want to avoid using black where you can as a shade color, because it kind of looks like a bit of a hole. So my artist friends have spoken before about using deep purples instead of blacks. So that was kind of the inspiration. So I think this will be a good pop. And then for the beaks and legs of the kiwi, we're gonna go back in with that gold. And then it'll be surrounded by this blue. So that'll be the midsection of the sweater. And then coming in at the top, we have a secondary red color. This color is called Rust, which again, Rust, it's so nice. This one definitely, I think it has a bit of a purple undertone to it, more so than what's showing up on camera. And then for our final pinky color at the top, we got this raspberry color, which is called Rose. As you can see, when all the colors are laid out together, I feel like it does a really good cohesive color palette, so I think this will look really nice. And I think just like the quality of this wool, it'll be a really good hard wearing sweater, and hopefully it doesn't end up in the washing machine like its predecessor did. The way I see it, there are two potential methods of attack for me to take on this sweater. I can either start top down or bottom up. With top down, I would do the shoulder shaping first, either do colorwork flat or do steeks, neither of which I am very experienced in, then move into the body portion and then do our sleeves. And I would like to do a gusset on the top of the sleeves just to get a better fit than your classic T-shaped Gansey. With this, I would be taking on the more difficult parts first, just because I don't really have much experience of doing the particular kind of neck shaping that I want to do, or the knitting in the flat, or doing the steeks. That's a lot all at once. And then it would move on to the body portion, and from there I'd be able to figure out the depth of the sweater probably more easily and how wide I want each section to be. So there are benefits to the top-down approach, but the problem with it is that it is the most intimidating to start. For this version, I would probably go off of Creabea's Kerr sweater, because her sweater has all the elements that I want. It has the neck shaping that I want, it has the shoulder shaping that I want, and it even has that sleeve gusset. So I feel like that pattern has a lot of promise. The only problem with it is that it's a DK weight design, and I'm knitting an Aran weight sweater. So, you know, Nothing simple. The other option is starting from the bottom up, and for that I think I would start my sweater off with the basis of Tin Can Knit's Strange Brew sweater, which is a phenomenal sweater pattern. It has sizes for multiple different weights of yarn, and then from baby to adult male. Humongous pattern, it's great. The Strange Brew sweater is a yoked sweater, so that wouldn't really help me with the chest portion of the design, but it would help me with stitch counts and dimensions, and just give me something to start with to make the process less intimidating. And then it also has helpful, like the math is already programmed out to help you with color work and putting your own color work design into the sweater. So I feel like that one would be more approachable to start. It just might give me some issues with figuring out, you know, what if I make the body too long because I don't pre-calculate things properly, and then it's delaying the harder stuff for the end, which might slow me down, whereas doing the hard stuff first might make the rest of the sweater easy, and maybe I'm more likely to finish on time if I do the hard stuff first as opposed to leaving it to the end. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I still feel like I need a little bit more time for things to percolate in my brain before I'm ready to make a particular decision on that front, because starting is always the hardest part with a new project. And this is a bit of a problem for someone who's recreating a design, but I'm frogging averse. I hate to frog my work. I like to knit it once and then we're done with it. I'm very much a product knitter, not a process knitter. But the next step is very easy and very approachable to do, and that's caking up all this yarn and getting it ready to start knitting. So let's do that. Kapow! So yes, we have all of our lovely skeins caked up and ready for action. And I think I've landed pretty solidly, and I'm gonna do this bottom up. I'm gonna start using that Strange Brew recipe to get the sizing. I've previously made a Strange Brew sweater, and I laid down that sweater on top of one of my dad's sweaters that he likes, and it was about the same size in like width and shoulder size, or arm width rather, and body size. So yeah, I'm gonna start doing that exact same size. I'm pretty familiar with this kind of yarn and the kind of gauge that I would get. So yeah, I'm feeling some energy and some motivation because I finally, for the first time, I feel like I have a solid direction to go in. So let's go cast on. Are you the handsome lad? Well, friends, here I am back with an update, and it's a good update. Look at this! We have almost half of a sleeve. This is a major update. Today is September 13th, and this is the third day of knitting on the Kiwi sweater. And as you can see, I've made some pretty respectable progress in my opinion. So as I mentioned in my last little clip there, I decided to get started using Strange Brew by Tin Can Knits as a base pattern, and I was going to do the bottom up. And then I opened up the pattern, and the first thing it says in the bottom up section is, start by making the sleeve. And I was like, why didn't I think of that at all? So bottom up was really smart because yeah, you can start by making a sleeve, and that's basically like a swatch, so I can get a feel for the yarn. And if I make a mistake on my like pattern drafting, I'm not really sure what to call this, my pattern mimicking, then it's not as painful to have to rip out 60 stitches as opposed to 230 odd stitches. So as soon as I had that like revelation, I was like, wow, this was meant to be. And now I just have excitement about working on this because I no longer have that fear and anxiety about like, oh, what if I mess up, and what if this is not big enough and I have to rip it out, blah, blah, blah. So this just feels like a much more low risk way to start. So I'm absolutely thrilled about that. And the other thing is that I think it's going really well. So as you can see, I've started with the brown color here. This is gold and this is dark maroon. And honestly, this is no frogging has happened yet. We'll see if it stays that way. But yeah, it seems like the pattern's coming pretty intuitively to me. I'm hoping it's showing up decently there. But yeah, as far as making a triangle shape and color work, I mean, that's not very difficult as is. And then with these Ys, I just kind of went for it and I think it turned out okay. So for the next section, there's a longer amount of that maroon, and then it turns into triangles, and then there's the kiwi. And that's going to be the end of the sleeve. It's going to end on just the kiwi, and then it attaches to the sleeve, and the rest of that color work stuff happens up here. So yeah, it's a great amount of testing out of the pattern. So yeah, I'm actually just like thrilled with how well this is going so far. My confidence on this project has shot significantly up. I am like fully confident that I'm gonna have this done well before Christmas now, because this to me feels like a lot of progress. You know, the joys of 5mm needles and a good heavy worsted weight yarn can never be understated. Yeah, main takeaways, it's going well, I'm a genius, and nothing bad's gonna happen at all. Stay tuned for more. He's just such a nice cat. That's what he wants to do. He just wants to hang out. Maven's having a dream and she's wagging her tail. It's really cute too. Hello everyone. It's been a minute. Today is November 17th. It's about noon. I was just taking some photos outside for this test knit that I just finished. It's for Holly Kent. It's the Ridges headband. Holly has 3 headbands coming out end of November, early December, which they'll already be out by the time that you are watching this. So go check them out. I'll link them below. And they're awesome because they're all designed with these ties in the back. So if you're like me and have a big noggin, headbands will push up and you get like that poof effect. It's like muffin top for hair. So what Holly did with this design, and all 3 designs, is to incorporate ties. So it's kind of a one-size-fits-all headband, and you don't have that like compression forcing your hair up. So I'm really excited about this because I've never really been able to be a big headband wearer because of that problem. I don't like the poof. So I'm really stoked about this, and yeah, I went for kind of a Santa baby aesthetic, taking the photos, and maybe some real content or YouTube shorts. So yeah, Ridges headband, big fan. Didn't take much yarn, quick and easy. Yeah, the reason also why I bring up the Ridges in this check-in is that it's kind of what's been distracting me a little bit from the Kiwi sweater, which this is a, I guess, mid-November update. Progress has been made. Let me show you first sleeve. So sleeve number 1, we are done up to the Kiwi section. I'm really happy with how this has worked out. So far, I haven't had to frog back at all. We're just winging it and it's going well, so I'm happy about that. The increases maybe are a little like bumpy, but I think when it's blocked out, that's not really going to be an issue. So the next part is to start doing the Kiwis. I used a online program, which I'm blanking on the name of right now. I'll try to throw it down here. But I used that to block out a Kiwi design. So I think I'm going to be doing overstitching to do the legs and the beak. So some of this area might be leg area. That's why it might seem kind of large. And then I'm going to start in the body. I stopped here because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do the body using the ladder back jacquard technique, or if I wanted to start knitting back and forth on this and do intarsia. And I was having a bit of decision paralysis about that because I haven't really done either of those techniques before. So I figured instead of just like letting it sit here and not making any movement, I would cast on sleeve number 2. So, oops, dropped my ball yarn. This is sleeve number 2 so far. So what I've been doing is I marked all my increases with these little calabash pins. Turn great. Oh, this is a little charm that I got from Handmade with Love by Shauna. I love it so much, little gummy bear. And then these are Cara Supply silicone beads just as needle stoppers because I don't want to lose my work. Anyway, So what I've been doing is, as I've come to the increase section, I've taken a pin off of this one, and then I've moved the pin onto this one. So hopefully that means that one sleeve's not going to end up longer than the other, but TBD, I'm capable of incredible things. So yeah, that's where we are at. So I'm gonna get this caught up to here, and if I'm still not sure what I want to do, then my plan is to cast on the body and start working up the body, because again, I haven't like drawn these charts out. I kind of just wrote reminders of myself of how to do them. They are kind of intuitive, of just, you know, increase one more yellow along here, and then kind of the same idea here, and then this is just like a Y design. Up here, the peaks are kind of, when I looked closer at the sweater, the peaks are kind of weird, like they're almost double pointed peaks, so I did just a little space in between with the point. So I'm trying to be as accurate as I can to the original photo, but I only have the one photo that is a bit blurry to go off of. So I'm happy about it so far. I think things are going well. There's just still some, you know, decisions and plans to be made. So that's my November update. We are working on sleeve number 2. We have a chart for the Kiwi, but a little unsure of how to approach the Kiwi, because it's going to be a large chunk of color change there. So TBD. Again, like I said, it's November 17th, so I'm feeling still good about progress. It's just a little over a month left, but now that I finished Holly's test knit here, which again, can't recommend this enough. It was so approachable, beginner friendly, easy gift knit, easy treat yourself knit, easy like, oh, I got a cute single skein of yarn, don't know what to do with it, knit. So yeah, this was like my palette cleanser, and I don't have anything else. Like, I have a few whips, obviously, but I don't have anything else that's like pressing to work on. I've kind of finished a few Christmas gift knits. So I'm planning on this being my main primary knit. You know, I might have a sock project for traveling moments, but I think a month's time should be enough. I mean, I've done sweater knits in like a month. I've done 2 videos on this channel, but both times I like missed my deadline by like about a week. So, you know, maybe I need to take this a little more seriously. But anyway, that's my update. Still feeling optimistic. We'll see where it goes. Good morning, everyone. As you can see, we've gotten our beautiful tree set up. She's tall, almost as tall as the ceiling in here. So that's exciting. I just love having the Christmas tree. It smells nice in here, and it's very festive, and we have the multicolored lights, and just to come and sit in here in the evenings and like have a little warm drink, it's so nice. It's my favorite vibes of the year. Anyway, coming at you with a December 5th update. We got 20 days till Christmas, though realistically, I would like to have this done before Christmas, so 15 days, get it done December 20th, have time to block it, let it dry, package it up nicely, not be stressed out about it. That would be ideal. So 15 days is what I have, and then we have a little leeway at the end there. But I've got progress, and I got progress that I am excited about. So let me show you that. Ta-da! I've almost got the sleeve done. And as you can see, we do in fact have an amorphous blob. That's the kiwi. So I think I mentioned this already, but the legs and the beak were going to be too difficult for me to knit in. So the plan has always been that I'm going to do duplicate stitch beak, duplicate stitch legs, and eyes. So that's another thing that I haven't learned how to do yet. So that'll be, you know, skills acquired along the way. But I'm really happy with how the kiwis ended up turning out. So what I did is I ended up knitting it in the flat. I did intarsia, which I hadn't done before either, but I feel like I did a pretty good job with it. Definitely some weird things happened occasionally, but I'm nothing if not good at fudging my knitting. Yeah, so let me pop this out a little here. So you can see on the wrong side, there is a few spots where I did stranded floats because there's these little blips of blue in there. So that was fine. I didn't actually find purling stranded color work too bad. We'll see how when this blocks, if there's any tugging and overly tightness. But yeah, I think here's a good example, if the light can get it, of how I twisted my stitches for the intarsia. So I feel like everything's mostly locked in pretty well. There are a few spots where maybe my stitching is a little loose, so I might go in after the fact with some of the blue yarn, just like to tighten it up a little bit, to make it look a little better. But as far as a first attempt goes, I think that worked out great. So as you can see, yesterday I knit from here. So I did almost 2/3 of the kiwi just yesterday. So that made me feel optimistic. I did have a 3-hour class, which like I prepare my homework in advance. So we're mostly just like answering the homework questions. So I don't have to pay too much attention in class just to confirm that my answers are correct. So that was about a 3-hour stint that I had just sitting and knitting and then, you know, being involved in the chat because she tries to be a good student. So yeah, we'll see what happens today. I have another 3-hour class and it's all presentations that we did throughout the year. So watching my classmates' presentations and then my group's presentation. So I think that'll make for good knitting time as well. How I did it is the purple ball of yarn I sectioned it out into 11 to 12 gram mini skeins. So I got 10 mini skeins. I'm planning on doing 2 kiwis on each sleeve, so that's 4, and then 3 on the front of the body and 3 on the back, so that's 6, so 10 total. So I made 10 little balls. These kiwis I was able to do within that amount. I did have a little yarn left over, so I will have some small bits of this yarn as mini scraps at the end, which is a little unfortunate to have them all separated out that way, but they'll find their way into like color work. Oof, my camera storage cut me off. I have 30 seconds, but anyway, these will get used in the end. I have enough to make all the kiwis that I want to make. I now am confident in my intarsia chart, so I feel like nothing's stopping me now. And I have cast on for the body ribbing and I'm almost done that. So progress, progress, progress. Can she do it in 15 days? Rouge and I are here to report that I beat Yarn Chicken. I had this much left to spare, and I've done all the red color work on the body and the 2 sleeves, so 1 skein was perfectly enough. Hello friends, it is December 20th and I just thought I would do kind of a layout update to show physically how much knitting I have done and how much I have left to do. You know, we're getting tight. Like I said, 20th, only 5 days to go, plus wanting some time for blocking and putting the details on the kiwis. So that's all things to consider. But, you know, it's So far so good. So I'm gonna start working on the kiwis on the sleeve, and I'm gonna try to get that done today. It's already like 2 o'clock and I haven't even started knitting yet today, so we're trying not to cry over that. And then I have the kiwis to do on the body next, and then I think the top section shouldn't be too difficult. I gotta figure out shaping and how I'm doing all that, so that's gonna be a bit of a hurdle, but the colorwork section itself is pretty simple. So it's mainly just the kiwis are what are intimidating me because it's that intarsia technique, which I'm not as comfortable with, but I think it's looking good. And yeah, I'm debating while I'm working on this one, maybe blocking this just to, that one's been blocked already, this one hasn't. So maybe if I block as I go, that'll save some time as opposed to blocking it all at the end and trying to get it to dry in the winter because everything wants to be damp for 3 days. Yeah, so that's where we're at, and I think I'll do my next check-in hopefully when I'm done the kiwis, and we'll see how long that takes me. Anyway, wish me luck. Feels like a convention over here. I thought while I was here cuddling the cat and listening to Diana Gabaldon's Written in My Own Heart's Blood, that I would show you how I'm managing my bobbins? I'm not really sure what to call these with doing the intarsia. So I just portioned out kind of 10-gram-ish sized balls, and I'm using my beloved calabash pins here to just kind of catch the ring so that they don't unwind, and then I'm just having them hang off my work. So I found this was a lot easier. I even used like hair clips to hold some of them than having them loose and just winding all over the place. And I've had a lot less issues with tangling since doing it this way. So yeah, that was my little yarn management tip. Morning, friends. Today is December 23rd, and the panic has begun to set in. So yes, we're in our final 2 days, and still working on the kiwis. So I had it kind of set up in my head that like I would do the front panel, I guess on the 21st, this one on the 22nd, and then on the 23rd and 24th I'd be working on just like the finishing clavicle area. I don't know what to call it. Anyway, the yoke. And yeah, we're a little behind because I went and saw a movie and went out for dinner with one of my friends instead of staying home and knitting. Oh, poor me. So yeah, today the plan is to get the back panel caught up, and then I'm just gonna rip into as much of the yoke as possible. I'm gonna be picking up my boyfriend Tristan today, so he'll be around. So I think we're gonna have kind of a hangout day. He is aware of my goals, and yeah, he supports me finishing it, but I'm still like teetering on the edge of, oh, I don't think I can get this done, and I can get this done. I'm gonna channel my inner Sydney from Squidney Knits, who always does crazy overnight knit miss stuff. But yeah, it's like I still just feel like, yeah, I can do this. That being said, I don't have any kind of chart mapped out for the top section. I've always just, this whole project, I've just been going for it, and it's worked out. So we're gonna see how that goes, but like this is really the final, like, pray for grace. period. But we're gonna see what we can do. December 23rd, 9 a.m. Let's make this happen. Also, I'm just trying to be mindful of I've started to have some muscle pain in the ball of my thumb there. So I'm trying to take like, knit for 20 minutes and then stretch for a bit, then knit again, because I don't want to have a sore hand for the holidays. But yeah, this is kind of the first time I've had a sore hand related to knitting, I think. So just trying to, take care of your body, because I grip my needle like this with my thumb, so it's definitely feeling it there. But yeah. Milo being on the unfinished corpse of the sweater feels fitting for this part of the video. It is currently 9 p.m. on December 23rd, and oh, you're just so handsome. As you can see, oh, don't you complain at me, I'm not moving you. I still have this much left of the sweater to go. That being said, I finished the sleeves, I got all the kiwis done, and, I was just starting to color work in the flat, and you know what? I can't do everything. So yeah, given that there's this much left and I haven't done this kind of construction before, it's just a little too ambitious, and not really plausible. And yeah, literally a lot of this week I've spent in my room working on it, which I have been enjoying working on it, but I haven't been as social as I would like to have been. And with it being Christmas Eve tomorrow, it's like, yeah, I think I'd rather do like cookie baking and playing games rather than hiding in my room crying over trying to get the sweater done. Not actually crying, but emotionally. Yeah, so I'm a little disappointed because this is the third time I've tried to make a sweater in the time frame of a video, and yeah, it's not happening for me. Apparently your girl can't do hobby-based timelines. Yeah, so I think the plan is I'm gonna put the needles on stoppers, obviously, so it's not like my wooden needles are in there. I'm going to focus on weaving in the ends, lint rolling the sweater, obviously, and just making it look presentable as possible. And then I think I'm going to package it with the yarn balls that will be used with it, and the finished sleeves. And I think my mom mentioned she would putting at least just eyes on the kiwi, because that's something embroidery wise that's pretty achievable. Yeah, so that's kind of the plan. I'm a little bummed because, especially when I'm trying to do a video for YouTube, it's like, yeah, let's get this done, let's be professionals. But who am I kidding? I'm not a professional knitter or YouTuber. I'm just some lady, right? Yeah, so we'll see what happens tomorrow, but if I do some baking and games, I think I'll put some footage of that in as a nice kind of outro, and yeah, we'll call this kind of my Vlogmas video, because it's what I got up to in December. So I hope in general that you've enjoyed following along with this and just seeing what I get up to and kind of my thought process on the sweater, and I promise that there will be a follow-up for this, because, even if I don't have a set deadline of when I'm going to have it done, I want to have it done as soon as possible, because I do have a lot of pride in this sweater, and I think I'm really proud of this yellow section in particular, and then learning intarsia to shameless. Yeah, no, I think this sweater represents a lot of learning, and I've never done anything like this before, and I feel pretty proud of that. So this section here will be a learning, and I want to make it as nice as possible, and I just feel like I will have the time to do a really good job and make it something that I can be proud to give him. So his birthday's in April, so we can say that his birthday in April is my new deadline, but that's 4 months from now, so that's plenty of time, and if I can give it to him sooner, I absolutely will. So stay tuned for a follow-up video about this, and yeah, catch ya in the next one. can't steal Maven's.